You are welcome to the news on Nta International at this hour. I am Dennis Adegunloye. Let's begin with the headlines. 2 days after abduction of students in Afaka, Kaduna State, President Buhari hails Nigeria's military on quick response. Director General, World Trade Organization, Okonjo Iweala in Nigeria to meet Business Committee for proper African Continental Free Trade engagement. And Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs distributes over 908 million naira to vulnerable in Yobe State. We'll begin with security matters, and President Muhammadu Buhari has issued a stern warning to would-be terrorists and bandits targeting schools, saying the country will not allow the destruction of the school system. Reacting to the recent abduction saga in Kaduna State, the president commended efforts of the Kaduna State government and early response of the military, which led to the rescue of 180 students, including 8 staff members. He directed that the others declared missing be found and returned safely to their families. The president also commended efforts and contributions of local intelligence in significantly thwarting the kidnappers, saying that a country which has an efficient local intelligence network is a safer country. The military, he said, may be efficient and well armed, but it needs genuine public support efforts for the nation's defense, and the local population must rise to the challenge of the moment. President Buhari expressed sympathy with the victims of the latest incident and hoped for an early end to the ordeal of those still held captive. And 2 days into Afaka students' abduction at the Federal College of Forestry and Mechanization, family members continue to raise concerns as security agencies sustain efforts at tracking down the abductors. Achari Maxwell reports.
The Forestry Mechanization is located along Airport Road axis of Mando in Igabi local government area of Kaduna State. Behind the college is the Rigasa train station, and not far from it are military formations. The institution, with more than 500 students, is now a shadow of itself as a result of the abduction Thursday night. Parents and guardians were on ground to pick their wives who survived the incident. Zibora Samson and Teresa James are among the lucky ones.
It's only God. It's only God that saves those who are inside the hostel, because they did not even come close to the room. They were, as they entered, they just went to room 7. From there, they now enter room 6, room 5, 8, and 9. That's the only room they entered. But the other rooms, 1, 2, 3 to 4, they did not touch the room. So that was when, I think, as they entered, they started from Jaika. That's the other male hostel. That was where they packed all the boys there. It's only 2 that escaped.
Me, I'm in class. If not, they for carrying me. All my roommates, they took them away.
Kaduna State Governor should please come to the aid of these our fellow students that have been kidnapped. Part of those students are my friends, and I know them very well. So it's going to be a very hard time for them staying in that place.
Minister for Police Affairs, Maigari Dinyadi, says federal government is concerned and is putting measures in place to prevent future occurrence.
Federal government is collaborating with states to ensure that adequate security is provided to these schools so that we don't have this kind of instances.
Efforts are on by the Kaduna State government and security agencies to track the missing students. In Kaduna, Achari Maxwell, NTA News.
In another development, the Katsina Police Command has denied a report of a purported midnight abduction of scores of passengers along Kankara on their way to Sokoto for Maulud celebrations. Reacting to the purported kidnap, as reported by some major newspapers in the country, the command's public relations officer, Superintendent Gambo Issa, described the abduction story as false and unfounded. Speaking to correspondent Shehu Adamu via telephone, SP Issa said there was nothing like abduction but apprehension, as the 40 passengers traveling midnight got information from the villagers that suspected bandits mounted a roadblock. According to the PPRO, the information necessitated the drivers of the vehicles, comprising 2 Hummer buses and 1 Golf wagon car, to park at one of the villages, and passengers alongside the drivers scampered for safety. SP Gambo Issa said all the 40 passengers arrived Sokoto safely. And still with security matters, Chief of Defence Staff General Lucky Irabor says troops of the Nigerian military will continue with their onslaught to clear all enclaves of Boko Haram terrorists, including the Timbers, to restore civil authority. General Irabor stated this when he led the service chiefs on a routine operational visit to Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. Maimuna Garba reports.
This is the second operational visit by the Chief of Defence Staff alongside service chiefs to Borno, less than 2 months after their first visit upon assumption of office. The operational visit led by the Chief of Defence Staff, General Lucky Irabor, was part of efforts to ensure troops and commanders on the front line are continuing with their onslaught aimed at ensuring total annihilation of remnants of Boko Haram terrorists, especially those hibernating around the Timbus and Timbuktu triangle.
It's a routine visit meant to ginger our troops, meant to motivate them to also get to know what their challenges are and then to solve problems right in the field.
General Irabor commended troops' resilience and the successes recorded so far, urging them to continue with the doggedness as the president has been following happenings across the theater.
You remain committed, you remain resilient. It is worthy of commendation. Well done. Thank you, sir. Well done. Thank you, sir.
The CDS and the service chiefs later held a high-level meeting where the theater commander and other unit commanders briefed them on the counter-insurgency operations.
We are encouraged, sir, by this visit to even redouble our effort towards achieving our mandate.
They also visited wounded soldiers receiving treatment at 7th Division Hospital, Maimalari Cantonment, assuring them of adequate medical care. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
Away from security matters now, and the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, is in Nigeria to meet with the government and business community on issues aimed at benefiting Nigeria in the African Continental Free Trade Agreement market. More on this from Benny Adams.
On resumption of duty as World Trade Organization Director General, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala hit the ground running with trade negotiations bordering on cutting fisheries subsidies and reforms at the WTO.
We have a lot of work to do, so I feel ready to go.
Today, she arrives Nigeria with same commitment to fostering trade in an era of global economic recovery.
And to do that, of course, we have to improve investments. We have to add value to some of our products. This Continental Free Trade Agreement is a unique opportunity for us to be able to engage commercially with the other nations in Africa, and that will boost exports. And then when you boost exports, you create more jobs. We're also going to talk about the digital economy.
We have received a lot of support from many countries, so we appreciate them. And her visit is specifically to start from home. Charity begins at home. She says thank you to Mr. President, thank you to Nigerians.
To actualize her plans, the WTO Director General will be meeting with government, the business community and other stakeholders for strategic planning. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
Now, more than 980 million naira has so far been disbursed to more than 24,000 poor and vulnerable households in Yobe State since the introduction of the federal government's Conditional Cash Transfer Program. Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadiya Umar Farouk, disclosed this at the flagging off of the distribution of special grants to 3,200 rural women in Yobe State. Bashir Ibrahim Nababa reports.
Mohammed and Aisha Ali, all in their 60s, hail from Gujuva local government area of Yobe State. They are formerly internally displaced persons who returned home but still facing difficulties in meeting their family needs. Relief, however, came their way as they are among the 3,400 lucky beneficiaries to enjoy the special cash grant of 20,000 naira each from the federal government in order to uplift their socio-economic status. At the launch of the intervention in Damaturu, the Yobe State capital, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadiya Umar Farouk says, since the coming of President Muhammadu Buhari in 2015, government has continued to pay attention to policies aimed at promoting living conditions of the poor and vulnerable in the country, which translated into the decision to initiate the National Social Investment Program.
The NC program is made up of the Conditional Cash Transfer Program, the Nta program, the Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program, National Homegrown School Feeding Program, YESO, and CSDP is one of the largest social protection programs in Africa.
Governor Mema Alabuni, represented, noted with satisfaction how the federal government, through the Humanitarian Ministry, provided COVID-19 palliatives and assistance to victims of flood disaster in the state, the interventions that brought succor to many impoverished families. From Damaturu, Bashir Ibrahim Nababa, NTA News.
For Nigerian women to fully participate in governance and policy making, the family and society must show greater concern for their rights. This realization, Aisha Ahmed El-Rufai, wife of the Kaduna State Governor, says will promote gender equality and inclusion. Elizabeth Omori reports that this was her message to Nigerian women at an empowerment and mentorship forum.
Women's participation in nation-building, activists believe, is a tool to achieving an equitable, peaceful and prosperous society. Erudite speakers at this forum are interrogating factors mitigating the growth of women in public life and marriage. Education and self-development, they emphasized, remain paramount to the actualization of the inspirations of the girl child.
We're going to write a few things, present it to our various state assemblies to see how some of the laws that actually pull women down can be revisited, are renegotiated, because when these laws were made, there was no consultation with women.
I would advise you, as a single woman wanting to get married, not to rush, to slow down, pray about it, think about it, because marriage is a very, very powerful institution.
Lack of support from the family and society, as well as poor reproductive health, were identified as hindrances to the socio-economic well-being of women.
We are not competitors. We are partners. We are developmental partners for the new Nigeria.
Eroding family values, high rate of divorce, stigmatization and insecurity. They say, if addressed, will encourage women to take active steps in contributing to national development. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Let's talk science and technology now, as the Nigeria Atomic Energy Commission is building the capacity of selected scientists in the country as it is to acquire a multi-purpose research reactor. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday reports that the reactor will be a rallying point for the conduct of research and training in nuclear technology.
These are nuclear scientists drawn from all parts of the country to participate in the technical meeting towards creating the best ways to put the equipment and facilities into efficient and optimal use. Acting chairman of the commission, Mukhtar Ali, sensitizing participants on recent developments at the center, urged them to take advantage of available research opportunities.
As well as production of medical radioisotopes. This production of medical radioisotopes is going to go a long way in helping our hospitals, especially where treatment of cancer and other tumors is required. The Commission is always willing and ready to collaborate with relevant stakeholders in order to jointly achieve set goals for the attainment of national objectives.
The multipurpose laboratory for nuclear instrumentation, nuclear safety and security laboratory is now fully equipped.
The center is one of the 6 nuclear energy research centers under the Nigeria Atomic Energy Commission, which has the mandate to develop capacity for the peaceful utilization of atomic energy for socio-economic development of the nation. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
You are on to the news on Nta International. We'll take a short break now. Do stay with us. More reports coming up right up.
I am there now. Are you sure this will work? It has to. I can't miss these guys get choked. Just keep your phone on so I can listen.
Today we're going to be discussing sleep What is the medical term for sleepwalking?
Sonambulism.
Correct.
Get free Intel to Intel calls and experience HD quality conversations every time. Intel. Live more.
Thanks for remaining with us. Now, Italy to shut shops and schools amid new wave of COVID-19 infections, and United Nations Security Council in declaration call for the withdrawal of all foreign forces and mercenaries from Libya. Uche Ugochukwu has more on the global update.
Let's start from Italy, where shops, restaurants and schools are set to be closed across major cities on Monday as the country warns of a new wave of the coronavirus outbreak. Prime Minister Mario Draghi said there will be a total shutdown for 3 days over the Easter period. Similarly, German health experts have warned against any further easing of coronavirus lockdown measures as the number of cases jumped again due to the spread of the more infectious variant first detected in Britain. The number of COVID-19 cases have been rising again for the last few weeks as some restrictions have been lifted. In another development, Jordan's health minister resigned after 6 people died following an oxygen outage in a hospital treating coronavirus patients. The oxygen failure earlier on Saturday hit intensive care, maternity and coronavirus wards in the New Salt Government Hospital. Meanwhile, statistics from Worldometer Coronavirus Dashboard shows the global confirmed cases tally nears 120 million, with Nigeria accounting for 160,332 positive cases, having reported 399 new cases on Friday. Away from the health crisis, the United Nations Security Council, in a unanimously approved declaration, has called for the withdrawal of all foreign forces and machineries from Libya without further delay. It also welcomed the Libyan parliament's approval of a new unified government on Wednesday. A statement signed by all 15 council members of the Security Council calls on all parties to implement the ceasefire agreement in full. And from Afghanistan comes a report that a car bomb near a police station in Western Herat province has killed at least 8 people and wounded more than 50 others, with the death toll expected to rise as several of the injured are in critical condition. That's the global update. I am Uche Ugochukwu.
Thank you, Uche. Now, conflict has been identified as one of the causes of hunger globally, and so the United Nations has called for a concerted effort to ending the hunger crisis affecting millions around the world. Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, said this during a video conference in New York. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday reports.
Identifying conflicts as one of the causes of hunger globally, the UN chief Antonio Guterres announced the establishment of a high-level task force on preventing famine, which he said will include representatives from World Food Programme and United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization. The high-level task force, he emphasized, will bring a coordinated attention to famine prevention and mobilize support to the most affected countries.
I urge all states to make ending conflict not simply mitigating its impact a key foreign policy priority. And I call on Council members to use your privileged position to do everything in your power to end violence, negotiate peace, and alleviate the hunger and suffering that afflicts so many millions of people around the world.
The UN scribe recalled that at the end of last year, more than 88 million people suffered from acute hunger due to conflicts and instability. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
The Ugandan High Commissioner to Nigeria, Nelson Ochiga, is seeking mutual cooperation between Uganda and Akwa Ibom State as well as Nigeria for economic development. The High Commissioner was speaking when he visited the Akwa Ibom State Governor, Udom Emmanuel, at the Government House, Uyo. Charity James reports.
The High Commissioner of Uganda to Nigeria, Nelson Ochega, commended the level of peace experienced in Akwa Ibom State, which according to him is worthy of emulation. The Uganda High Commissioner, who noted that Africa, including Nigeria and Uganda, spend a lot to other continents for economic and social benefit, called for political will from both countries for growth and development. While describing Akwa Ibom as a state with good and favorable climates, the Uganda High Commissioner called for intimate relationship and partnership in agriculture and education sectors.
We produce a lot of food crops and cash crops, notably coffee, tea, as exports, and other products like beans, millet, rice as food products. Like I said in relation to the oil and gas industry, we can also share a lot of experience.
The state governor, represented by the deputy governor Moses Ekpo, while welcoming the guests on behalf of Akwa Ibom state government, said the state will not leave any stone unturned to ensure strong economic partnership with Uganda. The state governor, who said Akwa Ibom is committed to the nation's foreign policy, made known the Ibom Deep Sea Port project as one project Uganda can pick interest in terms of investments.
We know that Ugandans are good people, and I do hope we can cut this relationship and continue to live as a country using the basis of our regional organizations, the ECOWAS, the OAU, similar organizations in East Africa, and build a very good country.
In Uyo, Charity James, NTA News.
The Commonwealth Society of Nigeria has selected 6 tertiary institutions to represent the country at this year's Global Commonwealth Debate Competition. The final round of the national competition was part of activities to mark this year's Commonwealth Day held in Abuja. David Ayre reports.
Founded on 11th December 1931, the Commonwealth, with 54 member countries, is a voluntary organization for international cooperation, social development, and protection of human rights in member countries. In Nigeria, the organization is largely concerned about the promotion of cultural values and remain in the forefront of its educational programs. Hence, this debate competition to select those to represent Nigeria at the continental and global levels.
The common gain, common unity, one people, oneness, and togetherness, we can move forward.
You see that the antisocial behavior will be eradicated from them. So I must commend Commonwealth for what they have done so far all the years.
Individual contributions, one way or the other, will help to strengthen that peace, the desired peace.
Peaceland College of Education, Institute of Management and Technology, Enugu State, University of Abuja, Enugu State University of Science and Technology, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and Adeleke University, Osun State, won the competition to fly Nigeria's flag, first in Mauritius and later in London this year. The theme of this year's celebration is Delivering a Common Future. In Abuja, David Ayre, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari sends condolences to the family of former ambassador to Senegal, Sam Edim, the diplomatic community, and the people of Nta I, Akwa Ibom State. The late Edim also served as chairman, Niger Delta Development Commission, contributing a great deal to the success of the amnesty program that helped restore peace to the area. Also trailing the memory of the late diplomat are his roles in restoring relations with some countries during the military era and the national award he received in Senegal during his tour of duty. A statement by the presidential advisor, Femi Adesina, says President Buhari prays God to rest the soul of the departed and comfort all those left to mourn him. Samuel Johnson is now our guide on Sports Update.
Prominent personalities in Nigeria's sports family have described as heartwarming and forward-looking the election of NFF's president, Amaju Pinnick, into FIFA's council. Minister of Sports, Sunday Dare, led other stakeholders